Okay, so I want to talk about unschoolers, SDEers transitioning into college or other academic environments. And I'm not going to talk about how and if unschoolers can get into college. That's a different video. I'll do that later. Spoiler alert, yes, they can. Lots of different options for that. But instead, I really want to talk about what that transition looks like for unschoolers, and if there's catch up they have to play, if it's difficult in specific ways, what to expect, what to worry about, what not to worry about. I suggest you try not to worry about any of it, but we're human, right? So I'm just gonna chat a little bit about that. And I don't know about you all, but I'm back to my early pandemic habits of wearing sweats and not really wanting to change too much in the morning, wanting to be comfy. And I'm just curious if that, for you all, if you're doing that, does it help you ease into your day, feel good about your day, or do you really need to change into new clothes that don't feel like you're lounging in order to jumpstart your day? Anyway, I feel mixed. I feel both ways depending on the day, so I'm just curious how that plays out for you all. But you get me in sweats today. I'm gonna move this picture so I'm not standing right in front of it. There, now you can see it. Isn't it better? So the first thing I want to share is I'm just going off of obviously my experience as an unschooler, and then also experiences that I've heard from other people, from stories, people I know, etc., etc. So the question I hear really often, not necessarily from the self-directed young people themselves, but from parents especially, is what is that transition into more academic work like college look like if you've never done it before? Maybe you've never written an academic paper before, maybe you've never done a test before, maybe you're not used to sitting in a lecture hall hearing about material that you're not as excited about. But for various reasons, you've decided to take that step into college, or maybe it's conventional school. The young person themselves has decided to take that step. Not here advocating for going to college or conventional school. That is your choice. It's one of many options, and especially in our current financial climate, I would suggest you really, really look into your options before jumping into that, especially if it means debt, which for a lot of us it does, and it did. I'm just here to let you know what that transition can look like. And from what I've heard, it goes very well for most unschoolers and SDEers transitioning into these more academic environments. But I'll share some specifics. Gonna dance, 'cause that's what I like to do. More than sitting in desks, I like to dance. Yeah. Okay, anyway, be right back. So just a little bit about me and my academic experience. I went to this homeschool resource center from the time I was maybe 6 until 18. And I took some classes, and by some I mean I took American Sign Language, I took a lot of Spanish, I took some Japanese early on, lots of musical theater, lots of dance, and maybe throw in a science or writing class or two that I dropped out of a few classes in because I didn't enjoy it. So I took some classes but didn't do a lot of academic work. I did some math at home with my brother. I did some writing at home when I felt like it. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about checking boxes for academics, I didn't do a lot of that. And then at 16, Washington State, I think I've mentioned before, has this really helpful program for those who want to use it. It's called Running Start, and they pay for 2 years of community college when you're 16, 17, 18, so junior, senior in high school. And those credits from community college are free and count towards your college degree, and they count towards your high school diploma. So you can do both at once and get free college. So I decided to jump into that, not really having been in these classes before, in this environment before. I jumped into a math class, I jumped into a writing class, I tested into pre-calc and, well, no, lies. I tested into algebra. I need to take some courses that weren't college level yet. Big surprise. Didn't take long to catch up. And I tested into like college level, entry level English and writing without really doing much of that work prior to that. So that was my first entrance into like academic and college. Since then, I went to a bachelor's degree program at Western Washington University, eventually designed my own major there, and then got a master's in early ed, which is a whole other story, and not my favorite choice I've ever made, but here I am, I have a master's degree. And I took a lot of dance classes at college too, but I didn't learn these moves there. As for my transition into college and doing college work, definitely had my days where I had to get used to being a little bit bored in some classes. I don't think that's specific to unschoolers. I just think I hadn't had that experience before. Otherwise, like writing papers, doing assignments, taking tests, all of that felt pretty easy to get used to me. I didn't feel like I hit a bunch of road bumps. I mean, honestly, I felt like more fresh to these things because I hadn't been doing it for 10, 12 years beforehand, right? I had more of a fresh mind to bring to this. I didn't have like burnout from this process already. And as I said, it was my decision. I wish I had more details for you about the exact experience, but it just felt so seamless to me. I don't remember struggling with any of that. I did it. So in a lot of ways, I actually think that self-directed young people are better set up to transition into college for a couple reasons. One, because getting to the heart of what SDE is, right? I'm assuming that the young people are choosing this path. They're making an informed decision. I mean, there's more to think about when you're thinking about societal pressure, family pressure, all those things impact whether the decision is really based on consent and whether it's really what that young person wants. But let's assume you're choosing this for yourself. You're opting into being there, at least more than probably your schooled peers. And when you're opting into something and you know it's a choice, you're more likely to put more effort, or at least the level of effort you want, right? You're gonna put in effort into the things you're interested in, and you're gonna like skate through probably, unless you really have that good student syndrome, which I had for a while, but you're gonna like skate through and find ways to game the system a little bit more on the classes you don't really care about as much. Self-directed young people are really set up to find the resources that work for them, to find information that works for them. So if you're suddenly, like you're a schooled young person, used to people telling you what to do and how to set up your time and all of that, and you're like thrown into college where you have to manage your own time. A lot of people are living on their own for the first time, and you're thrown into that system where suddenly you're in charge of a bunch of things you weren't in charge of before. That can be a really, really rough transition. I think it's probably going to be a rough transition for everyone in some ways, but self-directed young people are used to managing their own time, choosing their own classes, activities, free time, and like taking care of themselves, seeking out resources when we need them, seeking out support when we need it, and just all the things that go into being like successful in college. So I think in a lot of ways we're better set up because we're consenting to be there, or maybe even opting in enthusiastically to being there, and we have that self-directed spirit that you need to be successful suddenly in this life that's like so different. And then the question of, well, if I've never done academic work, never done test taking, never written a paper, all of those things, then how will I do those suddenly now? I don't think that we need to do academic work as young people to prepare for academic work later. There's so many things in our lives that we don't like have that full foundation of, direct curriculum-based foundation of early on in life that we pick up later in life. Like there's so many things we do later on that we didn't do a bunch when we were young. For example, people pick up music later on, people pick up cooking later on. And then just thinking like, yeah, if music's in your household, you're gonna have more of a foundation understanding, but you can pick it up later on, especially if you want to. When you want to do something, when you're ready and willing, it's going to come a lot quicker and easier than when you don't want to do something. So I've heard plenty of stories of young people who are like, I want to go to college now, or I want to go to high school now, but I probably don't have all the math or history or whatever it is knowledge I need to be at the same level, curriculum level as my peers. And it takes 2 to 6 months on average to get all that information and catch up for these young people who are suddenly like, I've never done this, I want to do this. Really quick story to illustrate the like building academic skills later that you missed not going to school. I was in my teens and preparing for probably the SATs, and my older cousin, schooled cousin, came to our house to visit, and she showed me the like, what is it called? The like foundation of building a paper. See, I don't even know the terms because I didn't get them drilled into me, or you know, maybe other people don't know the terms either, but the like foundation of a paper. And she laid it out on a piece of paper, and it was like intro with a thesis, paragraph summary, or paragraph summary, repeat your thesis, something like that. Used to know it. And I put it on my wall, and I swear to you, it was still on my wall until about 6 months ago when my mom redid my childhood bedroom. And I just like saw it every day. And that's how I learned how to structure an essay for the SATs. Like, I'm not saying my writing was beautiful and perfect. You can't learn grammar without work, honestly. I worked on that. But like just the structure of an essay, a thing you probably practice over and over in conventional school, I just had on my wall and I memorized it. That's just one little story about how these things can come up, and you can catch on to them later, things that take so long in school, but really there's other ways to learn them if and when you need them and you choose to do so. So yeah, there's like some foundation building. Like I had to take the algebra courses before I could take the college level pre-calc courses because I just didn't do a lot of algebra or any, but it didn't take me long. It took a few months. So when you're willing to do that, you can do it a lot quicker than like the 12 years over here that people spent building the foundation to be ready for academic work. We have a very strong foundation of understanding, critical thinking, logical thinking, problem solving that just happens through living life, being exposed to a bunch of different things. Like there's math and social studies and science and historical concepts in so many different things we do, and they interweave and overlap, and just knowing that that thinking is happening and that builds our knowledge in ways that will serve us later. We have good foundation, assuming you're immersed in like a supportive community environment and exposed to a lot of different things. What else is there? What are your questions? I will say that the choice to go to college or not go to college is an increasingly taxing one, difficult one. How much money most people have to spend to get through college, and the fact that you don't necessarily get a job with it. Like, as I'm saying, I'm just here to reassure you that the transition can happen and can happen smoothly, and that we are set up for that if it's something we're very much choosing to do. But take the decision to go to college seriously, especially in our current world, because it's not the gateway it used to be. Even when I was young, it was seen as a gateway, and it was in that transition period where really it wasn't going to be once I got out of college. But this is where I am. This is my story. I don't necessarily regret it. It's just that I want to make sure this isn't seen as a video saying, hey, you should go to college. It's just a video saying, hey, you can. Don't worry about unschooling being a barrier to you being able to do academic work. You will be able to do it if that's what you want to do. So thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you have more college related questions, let me know. If you have more other related questions, let me know that too. And yeah, I'll see you soon.